Welcome. Want to send a special welcome to any of you who are new to our gathering. And I imagine on a day such as ours that here in California, we're celebrating having a little bit more rain. And that's why I've been turning on more lights here because it is not bright and sunny as it usually is in Southern California, and which is very, very welcome. So I wanted to let you know that the loops and scoops that I started a year ago. So this is almost a year celebration of saying, "Gosh, wouldn't it be great if we had a way to gather and just be together and just be with what is happening?" And here we are, a year later. And one of the things I've been noticing that is just recently that a lot of things in the collective, people have been saying things like, "We only have a little bit of time," or "Could you very briefly," or "Could you very quickly?" And I went, wait a minute, what's so I want to focus today on using your attention to savor, using your attention to let it to feel into, using your attention, the gift of your attention to actually experience the value of circulating your attention. And so the first thing I want to invite you to do is to give attention to yourself as you take a few breaths. And I'd like you to notice, how do you give yourself attention as you give yourself a few breaths? So are you kind of looking at that? Are you feeling into it? Are you on the outside of your breath looking in? Are you having critical thoughts about your breath? So usually the way we give attention to ourselves is critical. And if you're noticing any of those little critical thoughts, I'd like you to create that We actually have a lot of science now. I've been using the for like 20 years. And of course, now the science has shown up, which is great because I didn't
Mm,
have to do the research. And here's the science that reliably
mm,
moves you into your wonder brain. So let
mm,
yourself while you're
mm,
noticing your breathing. And I'd like you to let yourself, as you're savoring your breathing, notice if there's
mm,
anywhere that your breath is wanting to move,
mm,
and giving your body permission to make space for your breath to move wherever it would be most delicious for you to experience an expansion of your breath. And as you're breathing out, that's really a the equivalent too of letting go. Notice how your attention follows the out breath. So do you follow it all the way out, or do you lose your attention part way? A lot of what we're practicing is being right where we are. That as you shift your attention, you also are able to presence yourself in action. So often we have presencing and attention connected with being really still. Like when we say pay attention, we get really still. But if you're attending, if you're giving your attention, you can actually follow yourself all the way through an in breath and all the way through an out breath. And I like to follow that when I'm practicing and sometimes out in public too, like I'm the conductor of my own breath. So as I'm breathing in, I can be feeling into like a little bit more under the ribs and letting me conduct that, and a little bit higher. And then, yes, now all the way out. And notice with each in breath and each out breath, what would be most delicious for you? and following that with your body. And as I'm doing that, I'm also feeling that my body wants to do a little bit of that standing. So please feel free anytime during our celebrations that you can stand, you can sit, you can lie down, you can have your feet showing up on the screen. Ah, so much of our attention is forward, like hurry up, be quick. That giving yourself that rich savoring of attention for your breathing. And I find that that makes to want wants to make kind of curvy motions in my body, which I'm really enjoying. And then from the filling up, there's another way that we can fill up, which is with love scoops. So imagine that you're bringing the universal breath, all of the consciousness that's around us, that you're gathering that and you're bringing that in to your lungs, you're letting it circulate through your body. So you're love scooping and receiving. You're love scooping and receiving anywhere in your body with touch, with expanding and letting that breath shower over you. And I'm imagining that most people in this group are more used to giving than you are to receiving. So notice what it's been like to focus just on you for all of these minutes and your own breath and enjoying that and savoring that. And for that voice in you that says, well, what about everybody else? What about all those other people who are feeling and suffering and grieving? Make sure that you give attention to you first. And now, all of that, like I'm feeling, I'm seeing some nice, juicy moving going on. And so, what if your attention out, fanned out in that savoring, appreciating kind of way? And I want to invite you to slow down your loop of awareness so that you're savoring, when you're noticing out around you, you're savoring. Ah, like I'm noticing the way the plants in here, even though it's inside, the plants have all gone, ah, because there's moisture in the air. And so they're expanding. So as you're looking out, notice what seems to be expanding. And if you let your attention move in that same leisurely, savoring way, you can be right with your attention all the way out to what you're noticing and then letting that land. And then savoring, just like with an in breath, that quality, whatever quality you're noticing out there, whether it's perky or expanded, bring that on back to you. Love scoop that on back to you. And let that land anywhere in you. So many of us, especially at this year anniversary time of the pandemic, are feeling a lot of sadness and loss. And that's all in the lungs. And that's a lot of what the COVID attacks. So giving additional attention to your heart, to your lungs, letting that savoring, caring, because I know just by looking out, and I know so many of you, and I know how caring you are, letting that caring come back to you. And realizing that with attention, there's just plenty. And the gift of your attention is something that you can renew every minute. You can open up to being with what is And in the middle of what is always something that can be appreciated. And then you can bring that appreciation back to any place in you that's just wanting just a little extra attention and feel how you want to deliver that attention. So I'm feeling very delicate with myself today. We've been celebrating, we're having babies are happening around here. And one of our friends just had her baby and Louis. And so celebrating having another consciousness in the world and give yourself that kind of newborn, like, what's going on here? Where am I? And feeling into that just slow spreading out into the world. Letting your attention really slow down. So, in contrast to, speeding up, I was just thinking of that David Byrne song, "We're on the Train to Nowhere." The illusion that if we just speed up enough, we're going to get somewhere where something different is going to happen and it's going to be better, and forgetting that right now I have all of the resources that I need. And you may notice that one of the things that I do that maybe a lot of other people you see on Zoom don't is that I am moving. And I want to invite you all to use the attention of moving. The gift of loop of awareness comes through circulation. And one of the things that happens when we get stuck is that we stop moving. We literally stop moving. We stop moving our breath. We stop moving sound through. So here's something I want to have you add to your giving attention to you and then letting it fan out. I'd like you to add a sound. So since you're all muted, you can make any old sound you want to. And I want to invite you to let that sound be part of your giving attention, because letting sound through here opens so much circulation. So the sound of ah, the sound the sound, it could be more ah, whatever is going on for you today, to let that come through, because that's also the gift of your attention. And as you're bringing attention back to you, I just heard my body saying, hey, what about your low back? Huh? How about bringing some love scoops to your low back? So ask in your body any place that you're wanting more love, any place that your body is wanting attention. And how would you like that? So you can love scoop and sprinkle. You can love scoop and splash. You can love scoop and really embrace. So the verb that you use, I've been using savoring and embrace. Find a verb that you really love and let yourself practice using that with your attention this week. And the invitation is just simply to shift your attention. That gets your love pump and your breath pump moving in a way that supports your expanding aliveness. And also, don't forget the pits. So you may be feeling that you've been in the pits, but when you open the pits can bring lots of aliveness and expansion. So every part of you is totally lovable. So just take a moment to feel that and affirm that I am totally lovable. And if you're willing to, you can say that out loud for yourself. I am totally lovable. And what if your attention communicated You are totally lovable. You're totally lovable just as you are right now. So let's have a couple of I'm totally lovable and you're totally lovable. And there's a limitless amount of love. And you can love yourself for thinking, oh, that's just not true. I'm not totally lovable. So you can love yourself for feeling unlovable. That's one of the great tricks of love. The love trickster just gets in there and loves even the unlovable. Ah, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Lovely, lovely, lovely.